You get to know the people who do saliva testing, and you'll hear from both of those people before this conference is over. Duration of exposure to a hormone is more important than the dose. That is very, very important because remember, hormones can be retained. Okay? Because they can be retained, it is more important how long a person is exposed to a hormone than it is the actual dose. Estrogen increases target tissue responsiveness to itself and to progestins and androgens by increasing the concentration of its own receptor and that of its intracellular progestin and androgen receptors. Replenishment. Progesterone blocks replenishment. So let me try and break this down. Most hormones downregulate themselves. Estrogen will actually increase the number of receptors based on how much estrogen you give it. It's a weird one. So if I give too much estrogen, I will produce more estrogen receptors to accommodate that increased exposure to estrogen. Okay? And here's the weird thing. If I increase the receptors and then I take away even a portion of that estrogen, your body will start to have withdrawal reactions, which is primarily in hormones, hot flashes and mood swings and all those things. So if I give you too big of a dose of estrogen for long enough, duration of exposure to a hormone is more important than if I give you too much estrogen long enough and then I take it away, those empty receptors react and say, give me my estrogen. And they do that by making you uncomfortable with hot flashes and mood swings and all that stuff. That's why even though we gave a lot of women estrogen that didn't need it for years with Premarin, and then all of a sudden we took it away because the Women's Health Initiative came out, they all suffered. Even though if you had done an initial test, you would have seen that those women didn't even need it. But because you gave it, they adapted to it, and you took it away, they suffered. So this last thing says progesterone blocks replenishment of the receptor. That needs to be moved over. Somehow it got lost in. Move that arrow over to where it says replenishment. So when estrogen is exposed to the cell and you're making those extra receptors, there's two things you can do. You can give the estrogen back, or you can try and get rid of those extra receptors. So Spiroff says that progesterone blocks replenishment. So if you give progesterone, you should decrease the amount of receptors that are recycled, and so then your receptor count will go down. So now you can get by with less estrogen. That's why I tell patients all the time, I tell people, estrogen and progesterone work better together than they do separately. When you use them together, you don't need as much as either one. When you use them separately, it makes it tougher. So you need progesterone to control that receptor count so that you don't have these receptors looking for more estrogen and then it causes you to have the hot flashes and all.